Hello watch lovers around the world. I hope you're all doing well. On today's episode, I'll be doing my annual State of the Collection video for 2025. Before we get into it, I just wanted to share my watch collecting philosophy. Firstly, I prefer to collect one watch per brand, usually in my opinion the most iconic model. I just feel in general terms, each watch brand has a certain DNA in terms of design and feel. So having more than one watch from the same brand, they can often look and feel rather similar. I prefer to have variety on the wrist, and it also gives me the chance to experience different brands. Secondly, in order to control my watch addiction, I decided to get an 8-slot watch box. I made a pact with myself that 8 is the maximum number of watches that I'll own at any given time. Once the box is full, it's a 1 out, 1 in policy. Also, I think 8 is a good number of watches to own. It's enough to have variety, but not too much that you can actually wear and appreciate them all equally. And personally, if I own more than 8 watches, I would be stressed out every day deciding which one to wear. I would be late for work every morning. But for those of you out there that own more than 8 watches, more power to you. I'm impressed on how you can manage such a collection. And lastly, I buy watches for keeps. I would generally spend hours of research and watch stalking before pulling the trigger on a watch. So generally my watch collection is pretty fixed. I would only make minor tweaks year on year, if any. I will go through the watches in the order that I acquired them. So without further ado, I would like to share my watch collection for the beginning of 2025. Let's have a drum roll. Kicking things off is my JLC Reverso Classic Medium Duo Face. So I got this watch for my birthday back in 2021. Back then JLC was much more reasonably priced. In recent years the retail price has skyrocketed. I actually got the warranty card stamped with my exact birth date, which is pretty cool. I refer to this watch as the most expensive in my collection. The reason being is this was my gateway watch. I've owned luxury watches prior to this one, but it wasn't until I acquired the Reverso that I started to truly appreciate watchmaking and craftsmanship. And since owning this watch, I've been well and truly hooked. I like the Reverso for its interesting origin story and cool and ingenious design. Flipping the case can be extremely addictive. I can do it for hours on end. The medium size wears extremely well on my wrist. My only beef with this watch is it's a bit on the thicker side for a dress watch, but in general, measuring in at 10mm, it is by no means thick. The next one up is my Rolex Datejust 36. On the same week I placed the order for the Reverso, I got the call from the AD for this beautiful piece, so it was definitely an extra special birthday that year. For me, the Datejust is Rolex's most iconic model. It's the first watch that comes to mind when I think of the brand. As much as people say it, I believe it's true. The fluted bezel along with the Jubilee bracelet is the best combination for the Datejust. The two just go so well together. The blue dial is spectacular. It is really eye-catching and gives off different shades of blue depending on the lighting. I went for the 36mm size as I see the Datejust as a dress watch and I prefer the classic sizing of this watch. I feel the 41mm is out of proportions, making it lose its charm, and it just looks too big for a dress watch. In my opinion, the 36mm size wears amazingly well on my wrist. Next in line is my Rolex GMT BLNR, also known as Batman. So this was my second call I got from the Rolex boutique back in 2022. I have been after this piece for a long time as I wanted a GMT complication in the collection, and I love the stunning black and blue bezel. And most importantly, I'm a huge Batman fan. My wife actually bought this watch for me. Thank you very much, wifey. I'm very fortunate to have a wife that supports my expensive hobby. She is definitely a keeper. This watch was also on my wrist when my son was born. My wife is Chinese and the second time zone was set in China. That way I could capture both the Australian and Chinese time of birth. So this watch holds great meaning to me. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I prefer to only collect one watch from each brand. But I'm having a hard decision picking between the DJ and the GMT. I've been thinking to part with the DJ and get an additional Jubilee bracelet for the GMT so I won't miss the Jubilee bracelet. But I can't seem to bring myself to do it just yet. If you were in my position, what would you do? Would love to hear any thoughts or suggestions. And here are some wrist shots of the GMT on my wrist. Number 4 in the collection is the Zenith El Primero Chronomaster Original. So I've been eyeing a chronograph for a long time, and I finally decided to go with the Zenith due to its striking appearance, compact size, and amazing movement. This Zenith is one of the first automatic chronograph movements released. The striking tricolour subdials really caught my eye. I nicknamed this watch the Mickey Mouse because the subdials kinda remind me of him, which is definitely not a bad thing. This watch has a nifty party trick, a 1/10 of a second chronograph function. The red hand makes one cycle around the watch every 10 seconds. Perhaps useless, but cool nonetheless. This is also my son's birth year watch, another piece that holds great meaning to me. The 38mm Goldilocks size suits my wrist exceptionally well. Next up is my Vacheron Constantin 1921. I refer to this as the GOAT watch. This is the only truly untouchable piece in my collection. I will take it to the grave with me. I love everything about this watch. The cool origin story, the sizing, the cushion case shape, the slanted dial, just to name a few. Funny story with this one, back then when I was caught up in the integrated sports watch hype, in particular the overseas, I went to visit the boutique to try it on. While I was there, I saw the 1921 in the window, and it immediately caught my eye. Such a unique design and case shape. Since that day, I've become obsessed with the piece. My AD was aware how much I liked this watch, and one day they made me an amazing offer that I couldn't turn down. The rest is history. This watch has an amazing dial. When broken down, it doesn't seem like much. Breguet-styled hands and numerals, grained silvery dial, pink gold logo, and small seconds at 3 o'clock. But when you look at it as a whole, whoa, does this dial pack a punch. It's an absolute work of art. It wears so well on my wrist. Nothing else comes close in my collection. Next on the list is the Louis Cartier Tank Large in rose gold. I got this piece along with a tank must for my wife to celebrate our wedding anniversary. We decided to get tanks as their designs are heavily influenced by jewelry, while at the same time Cartier has a strong horological significance, something that would appeal to both the wife and I. The dial on this piece is really special. The black printed numerals along with the silver beaded dial and blue steeled hands make the dial really pop. It has so much depth and character. I know some people would say that this piece is too similar to the Reverso, but I think besides the case shape, the similarities end there. The Reverso is more sporty, while the Tank is pure elegance. This is the thinnest watch I own, and it wears amazing on my wrist. It is one of my go-to pieces for formal occasions. The next watch is the Panerai Luminor. At this stage of my watch collecting journey, I felt my collection was a tad dress watch heavy, so I was on the lookout for a sports watch. I wanted a piece that wasn't overly expensive. I know watches in general are expensive, who am I kidding? Something that was durable and robust now that my son is able to run all over the place causing chaos. And something I could wear on holidays and vacations where I wouldn't have to worry too much or draw too much heat on myself. Also, the Luminor has a unique design with the cushion case and crown lock. And as you can tell by now, I like a watch that has a distinct feature or design. So this watch ticked all the boxes for me. Prior to purchasing the Luminor, I had always shied away from the brand. For some reason, I had this perception that they only make large and bulky watches. This may have been true in the past, but this stereotype should well and truly be put to bed now. The Luminor comes in a range of sizes to fit all wrists and preferences. The 40mm is a great sporty size for my wrist. Being on a rubber strap, it is super lightweight and ideal for active lifestyle situations. And last but not least, my latest acquisition, the Patek Philippe Calatrava in rose gold. I have always considered Patek to be at the pinnacle of watchmaking, and I wanted to experience owning one. This along with the Nautilus were the two models that attracted me the most in their catalogue. I was fortunate enough to get the call for this amazing piece just before Christmas last year, and boy does it not disappoint. The dial is the most symmetrical I've ever come across. It is just so balanced. This is the ideal watch for those that have OCD, and the caseback is one of the best finished movements I've ever seen. It is beautifully decorated. Patek differs from other watch brands as the serial number is actually engraved in the movement. And as we know, most brands have warranty cards, but Patek does it the traditional way and actually provides a document. It's kind of like the birth certificate of the watch, having its mother or father's name, the birth date and location. Patek is definitely something else. While I do think this watch wears slightly large for a dress watch, I think the sizing is pretty much spot on for a daily watch. And here are some honorable mentions that didn't make the watch box. Here is my G-Shock and Garmin. I don't know much about G-Shocks, but this one was gifted to me by my wife. It was Chinese New Year a few years back, and as per our tradition, we should wear something new on New Year's Day. I didn't have anything to wear, so she got me this. I mainly use it for outdoor activities such as gardening, washing the car, or hiking. As for the Garmin, I mainly use it to track my runs and my sleep. As for the future of my watch collection, as I mentioned earlier, I'm still struggling to decide which Rolex to keep, but a decision will have to be made shortly, as I can't justify having both in the collection. Also, I would like an all-gold bracelet watch, and the recently released Piaget Polo 79 is my current obsession. But I think the 38mm wears a bit large. If they were ever to release a smaller version, I would definitely consider one. I would also like a Patek Nautilus 5712, but as things stand, I would have better luck drawing blood out of a stone than getting allocated this one from the AD. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning about my watch collection and the stories behind them. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. Until next time, happy watch collecting.